Welcome to Honey Bee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Jamie. When my fiancée decided to end things in front of her friends, she never expected the way I'd react. Vanessa and I first crossed paths during our senior year at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond. By graduation, we'd already shared 2 casual coffee dates. A few months after we tossed our caps, we officially became a couple. I landed a job at a mid-sized healthcare company, not glamorous, but steady with decent pay and solid benefits. Vanessa took a different path, stepping into retail management. She got hired as an assistant manager at a trendy clothing store downtown, a spot popular with young professionals. Her shifts were long and exhausting, and she often dealt with difficult customers. She complained sometimes about arrogant shoppers, impossible sales goals, and sore feet from standing all day, but overall, she seemed satisfied. She was good at it. Within a year, she earned promotion to store manager. Our relationship fell into a steady, comfortable rhythm. We talked about moving in together, but agreed to wait a bit longer. We spent time together, shared dreams about the future, at first in vague conversations. But as our 4th anniversary approached, those talks became more serious. That's when I started thinking about proposing. I always imagined I'd just know when the right moment came, and I did. One Sunday morning, I woke up to see Vanessa in my kitchen, making coffee in her favorite oversized sweatshirt. As I watched her, it hit me. I want to spend my life with her. That was the moment I decided. I began planning almost immediately. My first mission: find the perfect engagement ring. I knew nothing about jewelry, so I spent hours reading articles, watching videos, and learning about the famous 4 C's: cut, clarity, color, and carat. I set a budget of $1,000. It was what made sense with my salary and savings. I didn't want to drown in debt over a ring. I visited 3 jewelers over the next 2 weeks, asking questions, comparing stones, and searching for the right balance of quality, beauty, and price. Eventually, I found it. The jeweler assured me it was genuine and beautifully made, explaining that the size was standard for my price range. I trusted him and felt proud of my choice. The next part was the proposal itself. Vanessa always said she didn't want a big, public display. She preferred something intimate and meaningful. So I made a reservation at a rooftop restaurant with a stunning view of the city, softly lit with Edison bulbs. I requested a corner table, arranged with the staff to keep interruptions to a minimum, and planned everything quietly. The night was perfect. We laughed over dinner. She ordered salmon. I got the ribeye. I was nervous, but I don't think she noticed. When dessert plates were cleared, I stood, moved beside her, and knelt on one knee. Her hands flew to her mouth, eyes wide. I told her I loved her, that I couldn't imagine life without her, and asked her to marry me. She said yes before I'd even opened the box completely. She pulled me up, kissed me, and the other couples around us clapped. It felt surreal. She turned her hand under the rooftop lights, admiring the ring, smiling wide. Then, almost instantly, she pulled out her phone, snapping photos and selfies of us, the ring sparkling in each shot. I didn't mind. She was excited, and I loved seeing her happy. The next morning, she posted a photo on Instagram, her hand on a table, the ring in focus, with the caption, "Forever starts now." Within an hour, hundreds of likes poured in, followed by comments filled with love and congratulations. Everything felt right. For a few days after the proposal, she wore the ring constantly. She'd glance at it and smile. She talked about potential venues, guest lists, and whether we should have a big ceremony or something intimate. I felt content and relieved. But about 5 days later, something shifted. She spent an afternoon with her 2 close friends, and when she came over that evening, something in her energy felt different, distant. She was quieter. Her usual sparkle dimmed. Later, while we watched TV, she casually asked how much I'd spent on the ring. I told her honestly. A pause followed. Then she asked why I hadn't gotten a bigger one. She said she and her friends had been looking at engagement rings online and noticed most were over a carat. I explained that I'd chosen based on quality, not just size, and stuck to a budget that made sense for us. I spoke calmly, not defensive, not apologetic. She nodded, but I could see the disappointment in her face. The next few days, she became distant. Her replies to my texts grew delayed and short. She posted cryptic quotes on social media. Things like, "Never settle for less than you deserve." That wasn't her usual style. It felt like she was sending a message without saying it directly. I didn't confront her, but inside, a knot of unease grew. 2 weeks after the proposal, a text from Vanessa popped up while I was at work. "Can you meet me at the cafe near my place? We need to talk." My stomach sank. Everyone knows what "we need to talk" means. I got there 20 minutes later. Inside, I saw her sitting by the window with her friends. Drinks already on the table. They weren't leaving. They were here on purpose. I sat down. The air was thick with silence. After a few meaningless small-talk questions, Vanessa straightened, folded her hands, and her voice turned serious. She said she'd been thinking a lot lately, that maybe we'd rushed, that she wasn't sure we were right for each other. Then, slowly, she slid the ring off her finger and set it on the table between us. She looked at me and said, "You're a good guy, but this ring doesn't even look real. I can't wear it." I heard a stifled laugh from one of her friends. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the other holding her phone, tilted toward us, recording. I wasn't shocked. I'd felt this coming. But in that moment, I decided I wouldn't give them the reaction they wanted. They expected me to plead, argue, break down. I wouldn't. I took a slow breath, looked at the ring, then at her, and gave a small, calm smile. I reached for the ring, slipped it into my pocket, and said quietly, "Done. Enjoy your freedom." Then I stood, paid for my coffee, and walked out without looking back. Behind me, I heard one of her friends say, confused, "Wait, is he seriously just leaving?" But I didn't stop. At home, I sat in silence for a long time. I didn't text Vanessa. I didn't check her social media. I blocked her friends and moved on with my routine: work, home, gym. 2 days later, I returned the ring to the jeweler. The man who sold it to me recognized me immediately. I explained briefly that the engagement was off. He was kind and didn't ask questions. After inspecting the ring, he processed a refund with a 15% restocking fee. I didn't care about the loss. I just wanted it gone. Vanessa never knew I returned it. She didn't need to. I think she expected me to reach out, to fight for us. But when I stayed silent, the weight of that silence grew heavier. 5 days later, she posted a brunch photo with a caption, "Moving forward and living my best life." I didn't react. A week after the breakup, she texted me, "Hey, when are we going to the jeweler? I didn't mean to offend you." I replied, "There's no jeweler. It's over. I already returned the ring." She called me multiple times after that. I ignored every call. Then came the voice notes, first confused, then apologetic, then tearful. She said her friends had gotten in her head. She said she still loved me, that we could fix this. I didn't reply. Through mutual friends, I heard that the story of what happened had spread. People weren't on her side. A few even told her she'd thrown away something real over something shallow. One mutual friend reached out to say he respected the way I handled everything. I appreciated it, but didn't dwell. I wasn't interested in turning our breakup into gossip. Over time, Vanessa lost some of the friends who'd egg her on. Drama-based friendships don't last. I focused entirely on myself, on my job, my growth, my peace. For months later, I got promoted. I didn't feel victorious, just lighter, because I wasn't carrying someone else's doubts anymore. She tried reaching out a few more times, but my answer never changed. I'd already said everything I needed to when I walked out of that cafe. Looking back, the hardest part wasn't the breakup. Breakups happen. The hardest part was realizing that someone I loved deeply could be so easily influenced that my effort, love, and loyalty weren't enough once her friends planted doubt. The ring wasn't the problem. The price wasn't the problem. The problem was that she let others decide my worth for her. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I walked away. And in doing so, I kept my self-respect intact. My value was never tied to the size of a diamond or to what people thought we looked like online. Sometimes silence speaks louder than anything else. When someone starts testing your worth, the strongest move isn't proving yourself. It's walking away and reminding yourself you were never the issue. I don't know where Vanessa is now. I don't check, I don't ask. I've moved on, and I'm better for it. I'm surrounded by people who value me, not for the price of a ring, but for who I am. I didn't have to make a scene to get here. I just had to know when to walk away.